Hi book lovers, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm going to be talking all about Audible Plus. If you watch any of my recent wrap-ups over the last few months, then you probably have seen that I've been doing a little binge, trying to read as many audiobooks as I can on Audible Plus, because I got this 3-month promo from Audible, so I try to make the most of it. If you don't know what Audible Plus is, it's like the newer current version of Audible Escape, which RIP, I loved Audible Escape so much. There are two different versions of Audible Plus. There is the regular Audible Plus that you can subscribe to for $7.95 a month, and it works like Kindle Unlimited, where you can borrow as many audiobooks as you want that are part of the Audible Plus catalog. It routinely changes, so sometimes there's an audiobook that is available for 1 month and then after that it expires, so you can't borrow it again. So Audible Plus is its own thing. It doesn't include like the regular Audible credit. If you do want a credit that you can use on any other audiobook outside of the Plus catalog, you can subscribe to Audible Premium Plus for $14.95. So it's an extra $7 for that credit that you can use for any audiobook on Audible. So for 3 months I had access to the Audible Plus catalog and I was able to listen to over 25 books. I was really curious to see if having Audible Plus would be worth it. I mean, it's cheaper than Kindle Unlimited, but the selection isn't as wide as KU. I'll go through all the audiobooks that I was able to make my way through before sharing what I think of Audible Plus. I'm gonna separate my reads into like different parts for this video to make it a little bit more organized. So this first part will be for audiobooks that I read by new to me authors. I tried out 4 new to me authors through Audible Plus. I mean, any sort of audiobook subscription thing, you'll always get the chance to try out new authors. So even though that's not a uniquely Audible Plus thing, it is still a perk. Of the 4 new to me authors that I read, 2 of them, their books were Audible originals and 2 of them were just regular books. The nice thing about Audible Plus is that you do get access to all the Audible originals. These are books that Audible has exclusive access to, that they signed a contract for to release as audiobooks first, and then the ebook or paperback will come a couple months later. The 2 Audible original books that I read from new to me authors were Still Hung Up on You by Liz Maverick and Heidi's Guide to 4-Letter Words by Andy Arndt and Tara Civic. Still Hung Up on You by Liz Maverick was the best one out of the 4 new to me authors. I gave this one 4 stars because I thought it was super cute. It is a novella. Most Audible originals I found are on the shorter side. They're short, quick novellas. It's a second chance romance that mostly takes place over a series of phone calls because the heroine calls up her ex, her high school ex, to ask for help in finding a beloved sweater for her parents' 50th anniversary. I had a lot of fun with it. I would definitely want to read more from Liz Maverick. And then the other Audible original was Heidi's Guide to 4-Letter Words by Andy Arndt and Tara Civic. Technically, I have already read Tara Civic, but Andy Arndt was a new to me author. She is normally a romance narrator, but she co-wrote this one with another romance author. This one I did not enjoy quite as much. I give it 3 stars, but it is a full-length book. It's one of the few full-length Audible originals that I read over the last few months, so I'm a little sad I didn't love it more, but the writing style just wasn't for me. It's a rom-com, but it put too much emphasis on the comedy rather than the romance, so it didn't really have a good balance of both. And then the 2 other new to me authors that I tried were Olivia Hale and T.L. Smith. Their books were just regular audiobooks. They were not Audible originals. You can find plenty of regular audiobooks on Audible Plus. There are newer ones, a lot of older titles as well. The only sad thing is that I didn't like either of the books that I read from them. The Olivia Hale audiobook that I listened to was Think Outside the Box, and I gave 2 stars to this. It had an interesting setup. The heroine gets mailed an invitation mistakenly. It was meant for someone else, but it's an invitation to a secret sex club. So she goes and she meets the hero there, and then it turns out like the next day she goes in for her new internship and the guy that she met is her new CEO. So it sounds good, right? But I just did not connect with the story or the characters. I almost wanted to DNF this one at one point. So for my first time reading Olivia Hale, it didn't work out as well as I'd hoped. And then the T.L. Smith audiobook that I read was called Cavalier, which I also gave 2 stars to. This one is also sex club related, but it had even less of a plot than Think Outside the Box did. The writing felt so jumbled here. I don't really remember anything happening besides the main characters just getting it on all the time, and it wasn't even hot because they didn't have any chemistry. I think this was the first book in a series, and I absolutely would not want to pick up the rest of the series after having read this. Maybe it was just my bad luck that I picked some not so great books to read by new authors, but based on my experience with these reads, I personally would not try Audible Plus for the new authors. I will say that's partly because I've already read a lot of the authors that are on Audible Plus that I would be interested in reading. So in my experience, Audible Plus wasn't that great for me in terms of trying to discover new authors. I'm a longtime romance reader, so I read many authors that are on the Audible Plus catalog already, but if you are a new romance reader and you're looking at the Audible Plus catalog and you're discovering that you haven't read a majority of these authors, I would still say give it a try. Like the authors that I'll be talking about next, these are authors that I have read before. A majority of them I have loved, and I used Audible Plus as a way to read more of their stuff. So there are definitely still some good romance authors on Audible Plus. It's just the new ones that I tried didn't really work out as well as I hoped. And then speaking of audiobooks, if you're the type of reader who loves to work out while they listen to audiobooks, then today's sponsor is for you. A big shout out to Yesol for partnering with me on today's video. I'm super excited to share about their exercise bikes and their Black Friday sale. As you can see behind me, this one is one of their stationary bikes. It's the Yesol G1 screen bike. It's a bike that comes with a 24-inch screen so you can follow along with workout videos while exercising on the bike. Right now, the screencasting supports popular apps like Peloton, iFit, as well as streaming services like YouTube, Hulu, Netflix, and many more. So you can catch up on whatever videos, movies, TV shows that you want to watch while working out. It does have advanced screencasting, so you can switch between wireless and wired screencasting. It's a fantastic stationary bike that comes at an affordable price point. It's $4.99. I do have a special $100 discount code for you guys, which I'll link in my description. Yesol is a great alternative to Peloton, providing this amazing value at a lower price. They also have their own app, which you can use to monitor your fitness journey and also use their workout videos. A big thank you to Yesol for sponsoring today's video. I'll leave a link to this bike in my description, and back to the rest of this video. And then going into my next set of audiobooks that I read on Audible Plus, these are authors that I absolutely love, that I read regularly, that I was especially excited to see that they had freebies on Audible Plus. Surprisingly, most of the audiobooks that they had for free, they were novellas. Like the Christina Lauren audiobook that I read on Audible Plus, this one is a novella. It's The Honeymoon Crashers. It is an Audible original with a fairly star-studded cast. It's got a full cast and everything. It's a spin-off of The Unhoneymooners, and I really liked it. I gave it 4 stars. Christina Lauren always has the best audiobooks, so I did have high hopes for this one, and plus Harry Shum Jr. is in it. So this one is good. Definitely a great one to pick out if you have Audible Plus. I also had to grab Coming Home by Kennedy Ryan, who is one of my all-time favorite authors. This one is also an Audible original novella. Like when I say Audible original, these authors are writing these stories for Audible first. And this one you can definitely tell that it was meant to be an audiobook because it has a homecoming band featured in it, like the music from it. I gave it 4 stars. It's a second chance romance novella about 2 former classmates from college. They reunite 2 decades later at that same college, and it's finally their time to get together. Willa Nash, who is a pen name for Devney Perry, she has her 3 Christmas novellas on Audible Plus. I love Devney Perry, and I've been wanting to read her Christmas romances under Willa Nash for the longest time. These ones are not Audible originals, they're just regular Christmas romance novellas, and as much as I wanted to love the Holiday Brothers series, It kind of went downhill after book 1. I mean, I really enjoyed book 1. It's called The Naughty, the Nice, and the Nanny, and it's a single dad romance, single dad falling for the nanny romance. I gave it 4 stars, but then book 2 I gave 3 stars. This is called 3 Bells, 2 Bows, and 1 Brother's Best Friend, and yes, it's a brother's best friend romance. For some reason, I just wasn't as into this one as much as the first one. And then book 3 I liked the least. I gave it 2 stars. It's called A Partridge and a Pregnancy. So I do love all the titles here, the Christmas puns, but it literally went downhill as a series for me. I did not like these characters like at all. So even though it was nice that I was finally able to read them through the Audible Plus catalog, I've been wanting to since it came out like last year, I wouldn't necessarily recommend the series except for the first novella. And then Penny Reed, who I also love, has 2 novellas on Audible Plus. They're mostly bonus stuff that was available for free previously, maybe through her newsletter or website. Like A Beardy Bonus is just a collection of deleted scenes or bonus scenes from the Winston Brothers series. I mean, I love that series, so I had a lot of fun being back in that whole world. So I gave that audio novella 4 stars. And then Live and Let Grow is a standalone novella that I believe was available through her newsletter, but it was still really nice to see it on the Audible Plus catalog. It's this adorable friends to lovers romance that I liked. It's like 3.5 to 4 stars for me. And then Alexandria House has Temper Me on Audible Plus, and I really like this one as well. I also gave it 4 stars. It's a best friend's brother romance. It's a second chance romance. The main characters had this little secret relationship back when she was in college. They didn't tell anyone about it, but then he broke her heart and now they reunite several years later. I love the romance here, but I enjoy Alexandria House in general. So if you're contemplating getting Audible Plus, you definitely should take a look at the catalog first to see what kind of authors are there. If you see a lot of your favorite authors and that the catalog has books that you haven't read yet from them, then yes, of course, Audible Plus would be perfect for you. Maybe not perfect long term because there's only so many books from authors that you know, but maybe if you subscribe for a couple months, catch up on all your favorite authors, and then cancel the subscription until you see more audiobooks from them, that might be the way to go. I did listen to some more audiobooks on Audible Plus besides the ones that I just talked about. Like I listened to 6 more novellas and most of them are Audible originals. Like I personally wanted to find audiobooks that I wouldn't have access to outside of Audible. Like I regularly use Libby. I love my Libby app. I love my library, but a lot of audiobooks are Audible exclusive, so I can't listen to them. So when I had Audible Plus, I wanted to take that chance to listen to as many audiobooks that I otherwise wouldn't be able to have access to. I mean, I didn't necessarily love all of these audio novellas. I gave 3 stars to Crimes of Passion by Jack Harbin. This is an enemies to lovers romance between 2 podcasters. I gave another 3 stars to Dude in Distress by Helena Hunting. This is a spin-off novella of her Shacking Up series. Son of a Beach by Mia Sosa was also 3 stars. This one was a very short enemies to lovers office romance. A Vineyard Valentine, another okay 3-star novella. It's a Valentine's Day themed romance with a heroine who doesn't really believe in love. Call Me Maybe by Cara Bastone, also 3 stars here. The heroine gets a glitch on her website and she calls the IT company to get it fixed, and she starts up a romance with a guy that answers. The best novella though that I finally gave 4 stars to was A Thief in the Night by KJ Charles. This is really the only one out of these few novellas that I would really recommend. It's an MM historical romance and it was so adorable. It's about a highway robber hero who steals from the other hero who eventually happens to be his new boss. So yes, I didn't have the best track record with these novellas. I only really liked 1 out of the 6, but I did listen to some full-length romances and I did really enjoy like half of them. Like After the Climb by Kristen Ashley, that's on Audible Plus, and this was good. It reminded me a lot of old school Kristen Ashley. It wasn't perfect though. It definitely had a bit too many point of views, but I like the second chance romance. It is a messy story though, like there's fake cheating going on, but I still had fun with it. I gave it 3.5, 4 stars. I really like the 2 Emma Chase audiobooks that I read on Audible Plus. Her whole Getting Some series is available on the catalog, but I already read book 1, so I listened to books 2 and 3, and both of them I gave 4 stars to. Getting Played is a single mom surprise pregnancy romance. The main characters have a one-night stand. The heroine moves to this small town. She finds out she's pregnant, and then she also finds out that the hero is her kid's new teacher. Book 3 is Getting Real, and this one is a romance between a doctor and a nurse who work together at a hospital, and the hero is a single dad of 3. Pause by Kylie Scott was also a great audiobook. It was a 4-star read. I adore the romance here. The heroine wakes up from a coma. She finds out that her husband has been cheating on her, so she leaves him and spends time with the guy who saved her life from the crash that sent her into a coma. He's this tattoo artist, and they also become roommates. The other full-length books that I read on Audible Plus that I thought were okay were The Takedown by Lily Chu. I loved Lily Chu's first 2 books, but this third one I only gave 3 stars to. It was not my favorite. It's this rivals to lovers romance between online gamers, and they also kind of become co-workers when the heroine gets hired as a consultant to the hero's company. And then there's The Dream Guy Next Door by Lauren Blakely. This one wasn't too bad. I gave it 3.5 stars. This one was one of many Lauren Blakely books that you can find on Audible Plus, but I guess I gravitated towards this one because it's got a British hero. So the narrator has a great British accent. Both the main characters are single parents, and they are neighbors. I also read Loathe Thy Neighbor by Tegan Hunter. I read her before in the past. I've liked a couple of them, but this one I found on Audible Plus wasn't my favorite. I also gave this 3 stars. It's an enemies to lovers romance between neighbors at this apartment, but after the hero's apartment catches on fire and the heroine feels really bad about it, she offers him a room to stay in her own apartment. And then this last audiobook is one of my least favorites that I read. It's Well Played by Keeland and Penelope Ward. I've read both of these authors before, both their co-writes and their individual books. I've liked some, but I, in general, haven't had the best luck with their books. I was hoping this one would be different, but no, I sadly didn't like this one that much either. I gave it 2.5 stars. It's a single mom romance, and the heroine's son is the hero's nephew. So it's got some messy family dynamics here, but I just didn't really like the romance all that much. I found it pretty boring at parts, so this is on the lower end in terms of enjoyment for me. So those were all the books that I read through Audible Plus. I think my average rating for them is hovering around 3 stars. So it's not the best. I definitely would have preferred to find some better audiobooks, but given that I paid like 99 cents a month for 3 months for them, I'm not going to complain too much. If I were to pay $7.95 a month for 3 months for them, I'd be like, I'd be a little bit more iffy about it, but honestly, I would still give Audible Plus a try, at least for a few months, until you can read all the audiobooks that you want to on their catalog. I definitely wouldn't keep paying for it forever. I'd do maybe 1 or 2 months. If you're a big audio listener, give it a try. Even if you listen to like 2 or 3 books on Audible Plus, you would still get more out of your money than just getting 1 credit from Audible a month. So that's my experience with Audible Plus. If you've ever had it, let me know your thoughts on it. Are you still subscribed to it, or did you cancel? As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!